Hey guys, welcome back to Clash with Corey. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Uh, and also if you got any comments or questions, feel free to leave those below. I do my best to respond to all those. Today we're going to take a little bit more in-depth look at bowler attacks. I didn't want to call it just a bowler witch video because it's not. We're definitely going to look at some hybrids. No two bases are the same, so no two attacks should be the same. So first, though, the first one we're going to look at is going to be a very basic, very standard bowler witch attack. But there's a reason for that, and we're going to take a look at the base and figure out why. So look at this. This is a hit that Dauntless Dial did. And let's check some ranges on this. I want you to take a close look at the splash damage buildings, especially going to be the wizard towers and the bomb towers, all right? Mortars are definitely splash damage buildings too, but they don't do as much damage. They're really low hit points. They're really exposed. So, for this purpose, they don't matter as much, not even close to as much as like a wizard tower or bomb tower. So let's look at the range on this wizard tower. So the range on that's barely going to reach outside of that base. You know what I mean? For the most part, that's really not going to be hitting troops unless they happen to be standing in that little tiny area. But for the most part, that's not going to reach the edges of this base. All right, let's look at this. The sides of this base are pretty dang straight. We got a town hall on the backside. So if we drop a record like right here, you can see that it's going to cut a path through the middle of that base fairly well for a group of bowlers. So, and we're going to look, most of the splash damage in the core doesn't reach the edges, so that's going to be perfect to run groups of witches and bowlers down. So the skellies that the witches spawn usually go out in front, and they get targeted by the point defenses, and keeps the surviving witches and bowlers behind them alive through the whole raid. So now towards the back, we do have one wizard tower that's going to cover the edge. That's just one, and it's at the back of the raid. You know what I mean? By the time it gets there, this raid's pretty much done anyway. So this is definitely an excellent base for a standard bowler witch attack. It's very textbook. He's got 10 witches, 20 bowlers. The comp doesn't get much easier than that. Excuse me. He does bring 2 jumps, 2 rages, 1 heal, and he's also got 1 freeze and 1 poison. Let's go and watch this replay. So first on the edges, he's going to drop his groups of bowlers and witches. Looks like he's going to use all of his witches and bowlers on those edges. Or excuse me, all of his witches and about 4 or 5 bowlers in each of those edges. The reason you drop those corners first is you want them to cut in the funnel so that your core group, your core bowlers and heroes go in. Now he makes some mistakes on this attack. The jump wasn't very well placed, so his king actually has to beat through that wall. That's going to cause his queen to walk around the base, and he's going to lose some more bowlers around the outside of the base as well. But since this base was so susceptible to this attack, it's not going to matter. He's going to triple it anyways. Second jump was great. Gets into that base a little deeper. Unfortunately, his queen walked around the outside, and this baby dragon has not been killed yet. But like I said, it was such good base identification. Even those mistakes weren't enough to derail this 3-star. You're going to look, we looked at how there was no splash damage on the edges. Look at his groups of witches and bowlers on the outside. Still got tons of witches, tons of bowlers working around the core of that base. That baby drag's finally going to aggro over there by his witches, and I think some witches are going to kill it. Nice. So, we do still have a single target Inferno in the core of that base, and sometimes that can be trouble, especially with a hero. But if you look how many witches he's got left up, those skellies are just going to, they're going to overwhelm that single target Inferno. It can only target one troop at a time, and with those skellies out in front, it can't keep up. The skellies, I've seen skellies kill single target Infernos single-handedly many, many times, and that's what we're going to see here as well. Look at that big group of skellies down there. They're going to beat through that wall with the assistance of the queen. They're going to go in and take out that single target. So he definitely made some mistakes on this attack, but it was such a good attack. Matched to this base, it didn't matter. Smashed it anyways. Not enough splash damage on the edges. Straight sides, and so the witches and the bowlers just dominated it totally. So next we're going to go down to a base that I hit. It's going to be a lower tier base, but honestly with this setup, it would have worked either way, even on a max base. Let's take a look at this. A little more complicated, all right? Because we're gonna see some splash damage on the bottom side of this. You know what I mean? Definitely some splash damage on the edges down here. So we can't take the same exact approach that we did with the other one. Because if you send a group of bowlers and witches into this area down here on the back of this side, they're going to get slaughtered. So up here, though, if you look up here on this side, we don't have any splash damage that's going to reach this edge. So I just use 4 witches and 3 bowlers for this side of the base. Now down here on the left, you're going to notice there is plenty of splash damage, but there's no air defenses, so that's a really good opportunity to use healers on that flank. You got 2 options there. A lot of people elect to send 2 healers with 3 witches and about 3 bowlers, and you know, that's a really good option. Basically, you get bowler witch heading down that side with 2 healers to keep them up. You know, I prefer using on that side 5 bowlers and 4 healers. You know, and as long as you can keep your bowlers together, which you're going to see me taking out these army camps with some minions, and then getting a bowler bounce from this building to this building right here, and all that was designed to keep those 5 bowlers in a group so those 4 healers could heal them up through the entire raid. And as far as the rest of it, you're going to see where the town hall is located. So we're going to pick a good spot up here, kind of between these guys, so that wall wrecker's going to come in. And so basically, once you get your edges established, you know, what you're going to use for those edges, depending on what kind of defenses you got on those, you know, as far as air defenses and splash. And basically, the rest of your core is just going to be either witches and bowlers or just bowlers like I did on this one. So after I had my edge troops, I had enough bowlers to send 13 bowlers into the core with my heroes behind the wall wrecker. This was definitely a fresh hit. You know, if I had known it was a Houndloon, I don't know. I kind of expected it was going to be a Houndloon because a lot of these lower tier bases are running them. A lot of bases, period, are running them. I didn't really mind. What I did for that, in case it was a Houndloon, was I brought 2 poisons. The first poison is for that loon that comes out, and the second poison is for lava pups later on in the raid after that hound's been popped. Because oftentimes, you know, my only air targeting troop inside the core of this base was going to be my queen, and it takes her a while to keep up with all those minions, especially if they get out in front on those bowlers. Also had 2 heals in this composition. You know, bowlers can wreck a base really fast, but they're also super weak. Oftentimes, all it takes is 1 giant bomb and 1 blast from Wizard Tower, and all your bowlers are gone. So I brought 2 heals just to make sure to keep them alive through the back of this base. So you see that second poison went down in an area way out in front of the queen where she wasn't reaching yet to take care of the rest of those pups. And if you look on the bottom left, we still got bowlers going strong down there. I'll tell you what, 4 healers can keep bowlers or queen alive through quite a bit of damage. And this base is wrecked. You know, I think even if this was a max base, I think this attack definitely would have worked. I don't think this golem would have been as full health. Maybe that wall wrecker would have popped a little sooner, and the golem would have actually had to do some tanking. But, you know, the base would have definitely still been wrecked. You know, queen's not going to use her ability. We got so many healers and bowlers left. The other nice thing about this comp is you don't have to be 100% sure that your bowler healer group is going to go outside the base. If they would have circled around and gone inside the base, I would have been okay with that too. You know what I mean? Because then you got 4 healers in there that can switch onto your queen, can heal more bowlers. You know what I mean? So when I drew up this plan, somebody said, man, I'm not 100% sure that bottom left flank is going to circle around the base. And I was like, yeah, man, me either. But if they go into the core, I'm okay with that too. You know, we'll get a healer swap and they'll still get some value. So, you know, I don't know. I hope I didn't leave anything out on this. You know, it's about looking for those splash damage on the edges and looking for, you know, air defenses on the edges as well to see what kind of composition is going to work on that edge. So definitely you don't want to just follow one of these army compositions and try to make it work on every base. It's not going to work that way. You got to identify the defenses on the base that you're looking at, the layout, and, you know, figure out what specific army composition is going to work for you on that particular base. So don't ever copy the same army unless it's the exact same base. You know what I mean? But let's look for those objectives and let's cook specific armies. And we're going to find a lot more success that way. I hope you guys liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one.